Hello, everyone. I'm Kyle Kramer, the Executive Director of the Earth and Spirit Center, and I'm coming to you live from the Earth and Spirit Center, where we are now conducting our Camp Odyssey adventures. So if you hear any background noise, that is the sound of 100 plus young children in and out of our building. And we're so thrilled and excited to have them with us. And we're also thrilled and excited to have Debbie Laporte. Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Kyle.
Debbie, you and your sister Di co-founded the absolutely fantastic organization, which has, I think, been relabeled a few times, but is now called listenlearnact.org, deeply committed to racial equity in Louisville and even beyond. And we, the Earth and Spirit Center, have partnered with the listenlearnact.org organization and breaking news with Louisville Metro Government and specifically the Office of Equity and the Lean into Louisville program, which is very generously decided to support a lot of our collaborative work on racial justice and equity. So lots of great news to report there and an exciting event to talk about in honor of Juneteenth. So for the 3 people in America who may not have heard of Juneteenth or know much about it, can you maybe sketch a little bit about what this celebration actually commemorates? And then we'll dive into the event that's related to it.
Sure. Juneteenth is a federal holiday now, as of this time last year, and it commemorates an event that happened on June 19th, 1865. On this date, Major General Gordon Granger in Galveston, Texas, issued General Order Number 3 that declared all enslaved people were free, and in status, they were equal to their former masters. Now, that wasn't the day that African Americans were freed. That was the day that many of them learned about it. You know, the Emancipation Proclamation had come 2 years earlier, and the war had ended 2 months before, and the 13th Amendment was almost ratified by then. But news spread very slowly in those days. And the farther you got away from the center, the slower it spread. So out in Texas, many of the landowners and slaveholders were very slow to tell their slaves that they had been freed. And in fact, many of them just waited until the soldiers showed up to enforce it. They were trying to get in another planting or another harvest. And so when Granger made this order, there were 250,000 enslaved people in Texas, and many of them had no idea that they'd been freed. So there are lots of dates that could be celebrated for freedom for enslaved Americans, but this is the one that is most often celebrated.
Okay, and I think you and I, and certainly the Black community would recognize that while that was an important date, that process of emancipation is an ongoing one with other and necessary milestones on it.
Absolutely.
So, but it is important. It is definitely worth everyone recognizing and appreciating that history. And so we're trying to do that at the Earth and Spirit Center. We have an event coming up on, I'm going to get my facts right here, on Monday, June 20th. So Juneteenth is technically the 19th, but we're going to be celebrating on the 20th. From 6:30 to 8 p.m., we have a celebration with Lamont Collins, who's going to be our featured presenter. Can you tell me a little bit about who Lamont Collins is and what he does?
Yes, I'd be happy to. Lamont Collins is a native Louisvillian who played football at U of L, and he worked in communications and TV and journalism here for many years. But he also always had a fascination with artifacts from Africa or of African American history. And he, in fact, collected and kept a mini museum in his basement for many years. And one day, several years ago, he was listening to NPR, and a man in California was talking about creating a museum to celebrate and commemorate African American history. And Lamont called him because he wanted to send him some of his artifacts. Well, that museum never came to fruition, but it gave Lamont the idea to go ahead and open his own. And so he did in 2019. And I just want to say that for those of you that have never been to Roots 101, it is an amazing experience, and it has received all kinds of accolades for the presentation of the material, including, and I want to get this right, including USA Today saying that it was one of the most significant new museum spaces to come about last year. So I really hope people will visit. It's an educational experience. It's a very powerful experience.
Fantastic. And so Lamont is going to talk actually not directly about the museum and its work, but the title of his presentation is Being a Good White Ally.
Yes.
Do you want to say a little bit about what white allyship looks like and entails, and what we're going to try and do on that particular evening with Lamont?
Well, Kyle, as you said, the Black community was, quote, freed 157 years ago, and yet they still face racist systems, racist violence, racist threats. And so we're going to talk about ways that we in the white community as white people can stand in solidarity, can help to create equity that is long overdue. And Lamont is going to give us some specific ways that we can go about doing that.
Excellent. Now, but to be clear, this is not a celebration only for white people. This is an inclusive celebration.
Absolutely.
Okay. Again, this is 6:30 to 8 p.m. on Monday, June 20th. This is actually not taking place at the barn, the Earth and Spirit Center barn, because of said camps, et cetera, rolling for the summer, but it is going to be on the Passionist campus, the same campus. So it's at the Paris Center at St. Agnes Church, which is kind of behind St. Agnes School. And there'll be some signage and further details about that. But that's at 1920 Newburgh Road, not 1924, although same big campus. So Debbie, we're so excited about this partnership with Listen, Learn, Act and Lean Into Louisville. We're excited that this Juneteenth celebration is the first of many, many, many such events that we have planned, including an upcoming workshop on how to talk about race with Corey Lockhart. That's on our website.
Right.
This is a free event. Again, made possible by the generous sponsorship of Lean Into Louisville. It is an event at which we accept donations. I should be quick to say.
Always.
Yes, indeed. But we really encourage folks to come join us at the St. Agnes Parish Center and experience Lamont Collins, and as you say, hopefully and subsequently visit his Roots 101 museum. There's so what I'm thinking about here, Debbie, is that on the one hand, Louisville is a riven city in regard to the racism and segregation that still exists here. And on the other hand, Louisville is a place where so much exciting and good work is happening for racial equity. And
it's so true, Kyle. We have a history of being such a segregated city, but we also have a history of very strong, very consistent, hardworking people fighting for equality in Louisville, and we are joining that side.
I was going to say people like you.
Well, I hope to someday be able to say that.
Well, I think you can say it now, and I am grateful that we're working together on this. There's, as you and I both know, much work to be done, but it's good to do it in good company, and looking forward to seeing you on the 20th. Thanks, Debbie.
Thank you, Kyle.